Better. This episode is sponsored by Active International. Active International is the independent leader in corporate trade, an innovative solution for companies holding excess assets, from unsold product to unused capital equipment to unwanted real estate. Rather than receive cents on the dollar for these assets through traditional liquidation methods, Active partners with brands to realize full book value, mitigate loss, and generate immediate funds. Then, Active enables these brands to use the value they receive towards the purchase of media of all types, resulting in a higher return on ad spend. Celebrating nearly 4 decades of successful transactions through their unique corporate trade model, Active helps brands large and small transform products that aren't making money into working capital to support products that will. Active's unique ability to restore full value to obsolete assets together with their unrivaled investment strategies across the media marketplace has brands considering new solutions for their supply chain challenges and raising the bar on their return on ad spend. For more information on Active International and corporate trade, visit activeinternational.com.
Welcome to the Procurement Foundry show, TenureTalks. We ask the same 5 questions each week, providing you with chewable bites of expertise. I'm your host, Sarah Scudder, print procurement guru. I run Real Sourcing Network, a technology company that provides an innovative and painless way for organizations to buy high-quality print for less. I am so excited to have Rich Ham joining us today. Rich and I actually met, several months ago, and we've become friends and have had some business exchanges, and he's just a pleasure to work with and a really fun and cool guy. So Rich, I always like to start off each show by making it a little bit fun and personal. So I'd like for you to share a couple fun, non-business related facts about yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you, by the way, Sarah. I have also enjoyed getting to know you in recent months, and you making me blush with your intro, so stop that already. But it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it. Fun stuff about me. Okay, well, I'll start with a fact of my childhood into high school that connects actually to the name of our business, Fine Tune. I was a cellist until I finished high school. In my senior year, I was pretty good. I was the first chair cellist of one of the better orchestras in Illinois, and I did not continue with it in college. But I've found myself dusting off the cello recently because my daughter's now playing. She's in 7th grade, and the name Fine Tune was connected to, when you're tuning a string instrument, if you're way out of tune, you tune the pegs at the top, but when you're just a little bit out of tune, you adjust the fine tuners. And I thought that kind of is befitting of our business because we do a little thing for big companies. We're not moving the stock price a ton, but we are, doing that last little bit of critical tuning that takes them from good to great. And so that is one. What's another one? Here's a fun one. I was actually backstage and in fact, even on stage during the opening act at the last ever Grateful Dead concert at Soldier Field in Chicago in 1995. I'm talking about the original incarnation of the band, not all the resuscitated versions that they've done. But yeah, I was briefly even back in the Bears locker room in my hometown of Chicago before the concert, and briefly on the side of the stage while the opening act, which was the band, like formerly Bob Dylan and the band, was opening for the Dead. And that is all of a sudden, find myself aging well more than half a lifetime ago. So,
I'm seeing a music theme emerge here today.
Yeah, certainly, big part of my life. Yeah.
So, Rich, tell me a little bit about yourself and your current role.
Well, as CEO and co-founder at Fine Tune in the early years, that just meant I was the CEO, I was the VP of sales, I was the VP of HR, I was, VP of operations, the account manager, and, billing clerk. And that stayed that way for a good long while. We grew the business very conservatively and never took on a debt or, a whole lot of private equity money. we kind of clung to our ownership and decided to grow slow and steady and conservatively. And so, but as of the last decade, little by little, I have found myself surrounded by a really incredible group of lead operators and managers below them. And so now I get to do the stuff that a CEO should be doing, setting the overall strategic direction with my other, with a steering committee of Fine-Tune's leadership. But, and I'm also allowed to focus on the areas I'm strongest in, which is primarily, I'd say, team building and which is its own version of selling. My greatest sales successes have been convincing really awesome people to leave behind really good jobs and come and work for us. But then also helping our sales team, articulating the vision and helping them navigate complex sales processes. And so fortunately, I've been able to slowly but surely graduate to a point where I can do that CEO kind of stuff. And there are other people way better than me actually running the day-to-day business for our clients.
Yeah, I know the feeling of the pivot from doing everything to be able to being strategic. So congratulations on getting there.
Thank you, Sarah.
Who was one person, mentor, coach, or boss that has helped you most in your career, and how did they help?
I am going to answer my parents here. I've just had a lot of good fortune in my life, to be honest. There's anybody who ever tells you that luck is not a significant factor in people's, paths to success, or at least often is just fooling themselves. And the greatest stroke of luck I had was randomly being born to two really good parents that they were public school teachers, and they're retired now and live about 4 minutes that way. We are I'm speaking to you from my home in Bloomington, Indiana today. We lived in Chicago for a long while, and I was raised in Chicago, but we now all live here in Bloomington. And they public school teachers, who certainly help reinforce, the importance of education to me, but also because our schedules were aligned, the way that a teacher's schedule works. There were summers as a kid, the summers I was 8, 9, 10, and 11, I remember spending almost the whole summers traveling in Europe, and they exposed me to just a lot of diverse peoples, diverse places, diverse ways of thinking. And so, I think all that was way more formative to me than anything in the business world. So that's my answer. My parents, my awesome parents.
I'm the product of a teacher as well. My dad is a retired English teacher and writer. And so I know that my sisters and I were very lucky to have parents home all of the time because of the flexible schedule.
My dad too, English and Shakespeare and Latin. Yeah.
Yeah, he threw in some history. He taught at a pretty small school. English was his love and passion and his main focus. But I know that we all definitely get some of our writing abilities and our passion for writing from my dad.
That's great.
So what is the most innovative thing that you've seen in your space in the last 12 months?
I would say, okay, it's going to be a kind of broad answer, but in our space, I am seeing as preface to my answer, let's say that I think the broad enterprise, business spend management software like Ariba and Coupa have certainly, been hugely influential in and have made advancements in myriad sub arenas of the everything from procuring to paying for business products and services. We all know that. But over time, I think we've also come to see their shortcomings, and over time, some of these shortcomings have evolved as suppliers have adapted strategies for extracting profitability from accounts that may be, quote unquote, managed in an environment where Ariba or Coupa is a part of the management strategy. And so, money gets left on the table all the time in accounts that are managed by these products. And so in my arena, Fine Tune's arena of the expense management consulting world, there are a whole bunch of really awesome and innovative firms that have kind of been arising and evolving over the last decade or so to address those shortcomings and to kind of address the vulnerabilities that businesses are realizing they have that maybe they didn't even realize they have. Many still don't to this day. We're telling that story day after day to prospective clients. And so, you know, to give you one example, but I do not want to suggest that the most innovative things going on in our space are happening at Fine Tune. We've got first cousins in our arena of the consulting world that are also doing really innovative stuff, including like Real Sourcing Network, for example, your business. And so, but by way of example of something I'm talking about, you know, we specialize in a handful of really, really complex indirect service categories. In these categories, you know, I often say it's not a 3-card Monty, it's a 3,000 card Monty. And the suppliers have so many buttons they can push and levers that they can pull to extract profitability after a deal gets negotiated and for it not to be apparent. And whereas Ariba and Coupa might do an okay job, and I'm even going to hedge that a bit with black and white contract compliance, so much money flies out the door in the gray areas where with the right expert management and the right intelligent auditing, you can keep that money from flying out the door and occasionally even recover it after it has flown out the door. And so in our software, which is called EMOTE, stands for Expense Management Optimization and Auditing Technology. And the metaphor I liken it to is like it's a moat around your bottom line built against these indirect service suppliers that are, you know, competing with you as they should, you know, in that inevitable joust over your spend. You know, we have built crazy industry and category specific logic into the software where true industry leaders, like, you know, take the waste industry, Curtis Hill on our team spent 13 years as an RVP at Waste Management and has 30 years of background in the waste industry altogether. This is the kind of person who is helping to craft the logic that goes into writing the auditing software and all the peripheral reporting that needs to be run in corollary to the central auditing. And, you know, that logic is not even the same within an industry from supplier to supplier. You know, jump over to the uniform industry. The leading uniform suppliers, this is where we started our business, focused on this really complex category. They don't even all agree on the definition of the word inventory. And so think about how that has to inform the way you would write an auditing and expense management software. It has to be so customized and targeted with like a laser focus on not just an industry, but the suppliers within that industry, and then their myriad products and types of charges within that. And so that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, really innovative, kind of targeted solutions I designed to address the vulnerabilities that still exist within environments that might use an Ariba or a Coupa.
Yeah, Rich, I'm a big believer in the Dr. Eloise business model of niche category solutions instead of a one size fits all. And I think what you just mentioned describes that perfectly, that it's very important to have specific category expertise and specific category solutions, and just instead of trying to find one system that can do everything, which is just not possible.
You mentioned Dr. Eloise. Just last week, we did a really awesome immersion session with her and some of her partners at Kearney, and it was a great experience. And I would encourage people to look that up. It was a great conversation.
So, Rich, what is one unique thing that we don't know about you professionally?
Oh gosh, professionally. Well, my first job out of school, I was a journalism and political science major. So not the most natural route to running an expense management consulting business. And my first job out of school, all I really wanted to do was write about sports or maybe politics, be an op-ed writer. But you know, you got to kind of be somebody before you start doing that and build some experience. But I knew I could write about basketball, and I just graduated from Indiana University, where at the time the Bob Knight regime was crumbling, and it was national news. It was a big story. And yet all of our local sports writers were kind of part of the old guard that was all aligned with him. And I wanted to write about basketball in a little new and different way, and have a little, and have opinions about the topic too. And then I found out what the writers made after I graduated. And I was like, oh God, I've been naive about this. And I said, how about give me that job in advertising and I'll write for free. And so I started working as an advertising executive for the local paper, the Bloomington Herald Times in Bloomington, Indiana, and wrote a basketball column on the side. Had a lot of fun with that. And it was not until one of my advertisers was the industry leader in the uniform space, Cintas. And they just basically dangled a paycheck in front of me. I got an offer that was quite a bit more money than I was making at the paper. And I took it. And I would look back and regret that if it were not for the fact that had led to Fine Tune's existence. Because I loved working at the newspaper. It was a cool place to work, and I loved writing too. So that was fun.
So Rich, my final question for you today is, what is one piece of advice that you can give people clawing up the ranks?
Oh gosh. My honest answer is they should get 30 pieces of advice, because no one will be their ticket to success, and I don't have a bumper sticker that will drive them to the top, but I will give a good one of many. I think it's wise, and this question seems like it's geared to young people who are looking, for the right path to follow that will land them in the place they want to land. I would say align yourself, try to get close to the smartest person in whatever environment you're working in. As long as, let me put a caveat by that, as long as that person isn't a total ass, provided that, get close to the smartest person in the room and stay close to them, try to learn from them, and that will likely, you may prove yourself valuable to that person. And as they advance, they may pull you along. But regardless, you will learn things you probably won't learn if you're getting close to other people in the room. So yeah, find your way to the smartest person in your environment who's not a total jerk.
Mean people suck.
Yeah, they do.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for being on our show today. It was a pleasure having you.
Likewise, Sarah. Thank you.